No more auction black for me.
Mother dear, may I go downtown instead of out to play and march the streets of Birmingham in a freedom march today? No, baby, no, you may not go, for the dogs are fierce and wild, and clubs and hoses, guns and jails aren't good for a little child. But, Mother, I won't be alone. Other children will go with me and march the streets of Birmingham to make our country free. No, baby, no, you may not go, for I fear those guns will fire. But you may go to church instead and sing in the children's choir. She has combed and brushed her night dark hair and bathed rose petals sweet and drawn white gloves on her small brown hands and white shoes on her feet. The mother smiled to know her child was in the sacred place, but that smile was the last smile to come upon her face. For when she heard the explosion, her eyes grew wet and wild. She raced through the streets of Birmingham, calling for her child. She clawed through bits of glass and brick, then lifted out a shoe. Oh, here's the shoe my baby wore. But baby, where are you? can eat as much and work as hard as any man when I can get it. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most of them sold off to slavery, and when I cried out with the mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? And then they talk about the sting in the head. What they call it? Intellect. Intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights and Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a half a pint and yours will hold a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my half measure full? And then there's that little man over there. Yeah, you and that black over there. You said that women can't have the same rights as a man because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from?
That's right.
Where